Hi everyone, Max and the Millions, chapter 25. Lower, said Max. Sasha carefully loosened his grip on the rope. Just a little bit more, said Max. Max was hanging from the ceiling fan by a skipping rope tied around his waist. Sasha stood on the bed holding the other end so that Max, who was wearing a fencing mask, dangled above the floor like a pantomime angel. Stop, said Max. That's close enough. Don't forget I'm still wearing the microscope goggles under the mask. Sasha gripped the rope. Will you still be able to lip read? Max nodded. It won't be easy though, as long as I can find Luke. Max gazed at the pile of old clothes just beneath him. It looked like he and Sasha had arrived just in time. Hundreds of thousands of reds, greens and blues stood on the sand, staring up in shock. He searched the crowds. There, said Max. He was another king and queen. He did it. He brought everyone together. So what now? Sasha asked. Max smiled. It's simple. Everything that happened so far has been because of a misunderstanding. It's time to tell them the truth. Sasha frowned. You're going to do all that with sign language? Of course not, said Max. He reached for the whiteboard he'd stuffed into the back of his trousers and took a marker from one pocket. I'm going to write to them, and you, Sasha, are going to help me work out what to say. The Bin King leapt to attention and bellowed to the crowds below him. Behold, Prince Luke has summoned demon, warflies, attack! Before Luke could stop them, the warflies had turned to face Giant and fired their catapults. For a moment the air was thick with flying metal, a death cloud soaring towards Giant's face, which bounced right off him. The metal guard covering his face was like a force field. Nothing could get through it. The Bin King's face fell. There was an awkward silence. Run! Screamed the Bin King. He charged to the nearest warfly, shoved off the fly rider, and buzzed away as fast as he could. The rest of the warflies quickly followed, and the Green Army began to flee the valley. Quick! Luke grabbed Ivy. We have to get out of here. A hand stopped him. The Red Queen. So it's true. You do control demons, she cried. Why else would he have turned up now, if not to protect you? Well, if it's a blood sacrifice he wants, then the Reds will give him one. A royal one. Guard, seize him. A dozen Red soldiers grabbed Luke and started dragging him away. Ivy leapt at them with rage, swinging her club, but it was no use. Luke looked up at the sky desperately. Giant, quick! Tell them you don't want to hurt anyone. But Giant wasn't even looking at him. Instead, he was holding a huge white slab in his hand and doing something very, very slowly to the back of it. Execute him, cried the Red Queen. The soldiers threw Luke to the ground and held him down. Luke struggled to escape. For crying out loud, why aren't you listening? Giant's trying to help us. For great one's sake, let me go. The soldiers let him go instantly. Oh, said Luke. Thanks. No one said anything. They were all staring up at the sky. Luke, said Ivy, you might want to see this. Luke looked up and his mouth fell open. Giant had turned the slab around. There were words on it. Can you read them? It says, Hi everyone. Sorry about this big misunderstanding. I killed the fly. Complete mistake. Didn't mean to. Oops. The crowd was stunned. Oops, said the Red Queen. There was a moment's pause, then Giant turned the board around and started writing again. Can you see it? Actually, it was Sasha's fault, but our fault anyway, not Luke's. #sorry. The crowd was dumbstruck. See, said Luke smugly. Told you I didn't do it. Who's Sasha, said Ivy. Luke looked around. Everyone was staring at him. What? Go on, ask, said the Red Queen. You're the one who summoned him. Luke glowered. For the last time, I didn't summon him. You might want to pretend you did so she doesn't kill you, whispered Ivy. Luke swallowed and turned to the sky. He made sure to speak slowly and clearly. Hi, Giant. Could you tell us who Sasha is, please? Giant wrote another message. The one on the bed. The crowd turned to the vast mountain on the horizon. Standing on the bed was the second giant, looming over the floor like a towering angel of death. He gave them a little wave. See, said Luke, they're not monsters. The valley was filling up again. Everyone seemed to have forgotten about the battle. Reds and greens and blues stood side by side, their eyes fixed on what was happening above them. But why are they here, said someone. What do they want? Hundreds of people were watching Luke now, waiting for him to speak. He cleared his throat. Why are you helping us, Giant? He asked. There was a long pause then. I've come to take you all somewhere, to somewhere else, somewhere better. A gasp of disbelief went up from the crowd. Take us away? No, it can't be. It's the Great One. Malcolm stumbled through the crowd, his hands held up to heaven. He has returned to take us all to paradise. Why is that man not wearing any clothes? Someone muttered. The effect of Malcolm's words on the crowd was electric. More and more people were gathering round them, arguing and panicking, not able to believe it could be true. Luke turned back to the sky. Giant, are you really the Great One? He asked. The one who created the floor and gave us life. This time the wait was much longer. The crowd stood for many seconds, their breath held in anticipation. Giant didn't move. It was like he was trying to work something out in his head. And then, just when it looked like there was going to be no reply, he wrote on the slab and turned it around. Yeah, that's me. The crowd went wild. It's a miracle. He has returned. Praise be to the Great One. How can we be sure it's him? Everyone stopped. Ivy was looking up at the sky, concerned. I mean, he just says he's the Great One, right? She said. Could be lying. The crowd grumbled. There seemed to be no way of proving whether Giant was the divine creator or a great big fibber. Ask if he knows where my keys are, said a green. Everyone turned to look at him. The greens shrugged. The Great One knows everything, right? So he'll know where my keys are. Everyone agreed this made perfect sense. Oh, come on, said Luke. You didn't actually think. Ask him or we'll break your legs, said the Red Queen, grabbing him by the scruff of the neck. Luke groaned. Giant, do you know where... Keith, said the greens. Do you know where Keith's keys are? There was a long wait. Are they in your pocket? Keith reached into his pocket with a trembling hand and pulled out the keys. It is him, he cried. It's the Great One. The crowd went ecstatic, holding one another and crying for joy. The valley was filled with people of every colour, now red and green and blue, arm in arm. Luke lifted his head in amazement. So what do we do, Great One? Tell us. The writing appeared quickly this time. You see? Gather the whole floor together. I'll come back for you, leaving Luke in charge for now. Bye, the Great One. He was going to write Max and he's crossed it out. He's put M in and put a line through it. The soldiers who had been trying to execute Luke only moments before fell to their knees. Your Majesty, they begged, forgive us, we didn't know. Lead us, Prince Luke. Luke looked up. The eyes of the entire valley were on him now, waiting for his next words. It felt strange. It felt good, actually. Well, you heard what the Great One said, he announced. Spread the word to every corner of the floor. We're going to paradise. The tribes cheered. The Red Queen grabbed Luke's hand and held it high. All hail King Luke, voice of the Great One. Luke, Luke, the crowd chanted. Luke gazed across the crowd, lapping up the adoration. There was a strange feeling in his chest, like it was inflating so much it might suddenly explode. So this is what it feels like, thought Luke. No wonder the Binky King likes it so much. Ivy looked nervously at the crowd. Luke, you sure about this? I thought the whole point of being one tribe was to try and get rid of kings. What are you worrying about? Said Luke. Look at them, Ivy. The people ahead were dancing together, hand in hand, reds with greens and greens with blues. A moment ago, these people were all ready to kill each other. We didn't need the wise man after all. The Flories are reunited, and it's all thanks to me. Ivy frowned. You mean all thanks to the Great One? Yeah, sure, said Luke, waving her away. That's what I meant. Ivy looked at him. Luke, I have a really bad feeling about this. Something just doesn't feel right. Something's weird. But Luke wasn't listening. All his attention was focused on the people, chanting his name. Before Ivy had finished her sentence, he had left her and walked into the crowd with his arms outstretched. People started piling on top of each other to be the first to touch him. Luke, stop. He didn't stop. He didn't even hear her. Ivy watched as the crowd swallowed him up completely. That's the end.